Morning to you, Secretary. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure. Good to join you.
What is the response on that particular topic we were just talking about? Was it considered for nationalisation, the Grangemouth refinery, and rejected?
Well, the government took action on Grangemouth by investing £200 million there to support the retraining of workers for the new jobs that will become available through the Petroineos partnership, who are now running it. So it's going to become, as I understand it, a distribution and imports hub. There will be more development on that site. We need to make sure that those people who will be losing their previous jobs can get trained up to take advantage of the new jobs that will be coming in.
But clearly 430 people are losing their jobs today, and Scotland is losing its only remaining oil refinery. Why is that different to blast furnaces in Scunthorpe being saved?
Well, because we're transitioning away from dependence and import on fossil fuels, but we will need steel in our own country for the future. That's the difference. But what we've done is invest money into the partnership that owns the Grangemouth site, so that we can retrain the workforce there for the new jobs that will be coming. And I think that's the way you ease people through a transition. If you look at what the Conservative government did long ago in the 1980s, my family lost their jobs and there was no investment in the jobs of the future. So many of them remained unemployed for the rest of their lives. We're never going to repeat what the Conservative government did under Margaret Thatcher. We're investing to retrain and reskill people for the jobs of the future as we support the economy to transition to a different way of operating than in the past.
I mean, obviously the response of the Unite Union suggests they totally disagree with your framing of that you're taking a different, more generous approach. They say you've utterly failed.
Well, that's their job to do that, isn't it? The government is investing so we can retrain and reskill people for the jobs that are coming, and that is the best and fairest way to do it. Not all jobs remain the same for all time. Things shift and things change. Our job is to support those working people and the families that they depend on, so that they have the skills for the jobs that are coming and that will be there longer into the future.
I guess one of the things at the heart of this is the extent to which you're forcing the transition at the cost of jobs and people's bills every month. And it's a topic that's come up again because of what Sir Tony Blair said yesterday, saying that the radical reset of net zero is irrational and doomed to fail. What's your response?
Well, it's not forcing a transition. If you look at what went on under the last government, we all saw household energy bills and businesses' energy bills skyrocket, so they went through the roof. People were finding it really difficult to afford their own bills. Businesses were going bust because of it. That is because we were too dependent on fossil fuels, petrol, coming from fossil fuel dictators like Vladimir Putin, who then had us at their mercy. We want this country to take back control of our own energy supplies by generating clean energy here at home, wind, wave, solar and nuclear, and we're changing planning laws so you can get those facilities developed faster. If we do that, we're not dependent on petrochemical dictators anymore, but we can also lower household energy costs and business energy costs so that it's cheaper and more secure into the future. All of that seems to me sensible things to do, and along with it come new jobs in our industrial heartlands that will give people secure incomes into the future as well.
I mean, there's any number of points I could pick you up on that, but the most notable, I think, is to say that the Energy Secretary last week on this show did acknowledge that bills, for example, won't be coming down in the course of this Parliament. It certainly couldn't guarantee that. And so I bring you back to what Sir Tony Blair has said, that this commitment to net zero, quote, is asking people to, quote, make financial sacrifices and changes in lifestyle that will have a minimal effect on global emissions. He says it's been doomed to fail, as I said. Is he completely wrong, the former Prime Minister?
Well, we're not forcing people to do anything. We're giving people options and opportunities. But I don't think many people will object to having a more secure energy supply because we take back control of it from the likes of Vladimir Putin and generated it in our own country. And I don't think many households or businesses will object to, in the long term, lowering the energy bills because we're not subject to the huge fluctuations that you get when the likes of Vladimir Putin invade Ukraine. Now, we need to also stop thinking just in terms of the short-term electoral cycle and plan for the future of our country. And that is what this government is doing. We're moving away from sticking past solutions towards doing what's right for the future of the economy and for the future of households. Taking back control of our own energy supply is part of that, and lowering bills for the long term is also part of that.
That's fine. Just to clarify, we never really got supply from Russia. Very, very low percentage. Most of our supply came from the North Sea, from Qatar, from America, and from Norway. I just come back to this point because you're saying that you're giving people choice. And you also bring up the point yourself that we need to think about the long term. But therefore, do you acknowledge that in the short term, we are in fact more reliant on others? If you shut Grangemouth and we don't then have the oil that they would have refined there, we have to get it from someone else for the next 5 or 10 years. And we're more reliant on overseas supplies.
We'll still be using fossil fuels, whether that's from here around the UK, or most of it, of course, is imported for some time to come, for many decades to come. Transition isn't going to happen overnight. But a point you made earlier, it's important to, I think, correct that. Even North Sea oil, if we're drilling it here at home, the price of it is dictated by global oil prices. So what Putin did in Ukraine affected the price of North Sea oil as well. So we're all paying more from it, even if it's from the North Sea. What I want to see is secure energy prices that are not dependent on the behaviour of the likes of Vladimir Putin, so we can guarantee more secure energy supplies, but more stable and lower prices in the long term. You did actually say supply and security of supply, which is a different point to price. I acknowledge the point of price, and of course there's many other factors that contribute to the price as well, not to revisit an interview from last week. But the key point here then is, are you acknowledging that in not even really the short term, the medium term, the next decade, the actions you're taking make us more reliant on foreign supplies? No, I'm not, because what we're doing, we've already set up.
Forgive me, Environment Secretary. What is the consequence, therefore, of no longer having supply come from Grangemouth? Where will that come from instead?
Well, the supplies come from a range of sources. They're not all just coming in through one depot or one site. That will continue to be the case, but we will.
But it comes from abroad.
But we will slowly transition this country in a way that is safe from reliance on fossil fuels, where the price is dictated by the likes of Vladimir Putin, and towards clean energy, where we own our own supply and can guarantee that supply for the long term, but also maintain lower and more stable prices. That is what business wants to see. They want security and stability, just like everybody else. Households in particular want to see those energy prices kept at a level they can afford. We don't want the kind of spikes that we saw under the last government, because they had failed to invest much earlier in the new cleaner sources of energy, such as nuclear power, that this government is going to enable to happen.
We got a little bit sidetracked there. We can blame the former Prime Minister, Sir Tony Blair, for that, perhaps, Environment Secretary. Tell me what you're coming on to announce today.
Well, this is about fly tipping. A lot of people are very concerned about the levels of fly tipping that we see on our streets. And so they should be, because fly tipping went up by a third under the previous Conservative government. No one wants to see mattresses, fridges, abandoned TVs dumped on their streets, but it's happening far too often. This government is determined to clean up Britain. So we want to see councils use much more aggressive tactics, including the use of the latest technology like drones, to hunt down fly tippers, so that we can seize their vehicles and crush them as a punishment for what they've done, but also a deterrent to others who are thinking of doing the same thing. And we're seeing a lot more criminal gangs now getting involved as cowboy operators, taking rubbish and waste away from people's homes, only to use their van to dump it on a nearby street. We have to crack down on this, because nobody deserves to live in a community that is buried under rubbish.